Hello everyone. I just wanted to bring you along. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I ordered something off of eBay and I've been looking for this item for quite some time. When we moved 12 years ago, my husband said, "Sell it at the yard sale. We don't need another thing in the pod." So I sold my oval crock pot and I'm very upset and have been because I couldn't find another one. So over the years I've been looking on eBay for one that was like the one I had. Because if you're a crock pot person, you know what I'm talking about. These new crock pots run too hot, things tend to burn, and I have gleaned several crock pots from yard sales and thrift stores. So I finally found an oval one on eBay that I thought was affordable and the shipping wasn't too bad. So I knew it was going to be delivered today, and this is what I found at the door, and I wanted to share this with you because I don't know if I'm going to be happy or not. So let me turn you around and we'll get started. Okay. This is how the box came. This is not the crock pot. Okay, let's just get that out there in the open. Apparently they reused the box that they got a new one in, and the box is not in the best shape. I can't totally blame the seller because it was sent by our lovely postal system. So let's see what this actually looks like when we open it up. Just to add a little light to this, if you have crock pots from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know that they heat from the bottom. Well, someone decided that they didn't heat properly, and they changed the heating element so that it heats around the crock pot instead of from the bottom. And that's part of the problem with the new crock pots. They heat along the sides. It gets very hot. My husband did buy me a new one when we moved here, and it burnt everything. So I gave it to my son and he took it to work, and then they burnt everything at work. So let's see. Oh, I'm surprised. I thought for sure there was going to be something in here broken. So far, so good. All right, now one thing. I don't know that this is the lid. This lid does have damage to it, but it wasn't from shipping, and there's something missing. So I'm going to have to go back to the original posting to see. Not a bad thing. I'll fix that. That's not a problem. So let's see, the crock is fine. The crock is in really good shape. Little wear on the bottom, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Let me do this without dropping anything. So now we'll look at the base, and I have a feeling. Okay. She said it was only used once, which in a way I could believe. It's very clean. The bottom looks good. I don't understand what this is though. I have a feeling that has to do with whatever was going on with the lid. So, see, these line up right with the back. So while it's not the exact crock pot I had, I'm hoping it will work the same. I am going to have to do something about covering up these holes, which doesn't upset me too much. I'll figure something out. But the other thing I wanted to bring you along for is we need to test it. The other thing we need to do is we need to test it to be sure that it gets up to temperature. So the way you do that is you fill it 2/3 to 3/4 full with water. You turn it on low and you run it for 8 hours. Then you test the temperature of the water. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll bring you back to let you know how we made out with it. I've now filled, I put 5 quarts of water in there. I believe this is a 6-quart crock pot. So we're going to plug it in. Let's get the plug. Going to plug it in, and we're going to put it on low. We're going to put the lid on, and I'm going to have to figure out something to do to seal up those holes. So I'll have to bring you back for that. And I did notice this in the listing. There's this little vent here, and I'm not really sure whether I am totally liking that. There must be a reason for it. It's actually a couple of days later. I have a little bit of a story that goes along with my Crockpot purchase. When I opened it and brought it down here to the garage, plugged it in, it started to stink something horrible. There was a heavy perfume smell. I couldn't figure out what it was. And I was so upset because I really don't care about having to cover up these holes with some painter's tape. I really wanted the crock pot. I checked the crock was clean. The inside of the pot, and because it's running right now I can't show you, and I didn't think to take pictures at the time, it did have a little bit of what I thought was just, you know, stains from food, because sometimes that'll happen. You get a little drip inside. If you don't wipe it out right away, it dries up. So what I did was at first I had to empty the crock out, took the crock out, and had turned everything off after it had cooled down. Took the crock out, and I smelled the crock. And because of my fibromyalgia, at times I have a highly sensitive nose. If there's a smell, I can smell it. Makes me crazy, and people don't understand it, but it's just the way it is. So the crock itself did not smell. It was the inside of the crock pot. And when I tell you, in the garage, it smelled like someone had sprayed perfume and bathed in it in here. It was really, really a heavy smell. So I contacted the seller, and I told him that, you know, it was my bad. I didn't look close enough at the picture. Apparently the lid was broken, you know, and I'm okay with that. But the smell when I plugged it in was just horrible, and I really honestly didn't think that I would be able to use the crock pot at all. He was very nice, and I have to say I was totally shocked. He refunded my money right away, no questions asked, and did not ask for me to return it. I'm very grateful to him, because while the crock pot itself was under $10, which is what I was really looking for, something inexpensive, the shipping was almost $20. So I was very grateful to him for that. But now I have an appliance that I can't use. So I tried to think about what could I do to get rid of that smell. So the first thing I did was I did wash the crock very well with the Blue Dawn soap, and then I took a paste of baking soda and water, and I did the whole thing with that and let it sit and dry. Then I brought the base upstairs, and I did the same thing with the inside as best as I could. You cannot immerse them in water, so that was one of the difficult things. So then I did the whole paste, and I did that 3 times, and I had to scrub it to get that residue or whatever it was on the inside of the crock out. It was a great deal of work and waiting, and I came down 3 times, and I kept starting it up, and as soon as it started to smell again, I unplugged it. So I think I may have gotten to the point where I don't know if I'm going to cook food in it. I still have to decide about that. I don't want to waste food, so if it gets that smell in it, what am I going to do? I believe it's been at least 10 hours, so it's been longer than it was supposed to be. So we're going to take our thermometer and check the temperature on this. And I don't have my tripod with me, so let's see how we're going to do this one-handed. Okay, put the lid back over here, and we'll put that in, and let's watch the temperature rise. way you can see it. And what are we at? Believe me, the water feels very hot to my hand. There we go. So on low, it made it to 180 degrees, which is what the test said. And it's actually going above that, but my hand is getting so hot, I can't keep it over it. So we now know that this crock pot gets hot enough. So now I just have to make a decision if I would like to continue to use this and use it for food, or if I will just use it for crafts. I wanted to thank you for joining me today. I've done this experiment with previous crock pots that I have bought, either at yard sales or at the thrift store. So remember, if you're not sure about your crock pot, or if you're buying a crock pot from someone, an older crock pot, and you're not sure whether it will get up to temperature or not, fill it about 2/3 full, put it on low, plug it in, and let it run for at least 8 hours and take the temperature. It needs to be at 180 degrees or warmer in order for it to be safe for food. So I hope that you learned something today, and I wanted to thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you soon.